So Chrystine, thanks for coming out to the Wormhole.
Thank you.
For our new feature, Coffee with Cosplayers. So for those people who don't know you, why don't you introduce yourself, and tell us a little about how you came to We Are Cosplay.
Yeah, my name is Chrystine Shelton. By day, I work with an environmental consulting firm doing soil, groundwater cleanup on properties that can't be used anymore. So we clean it up so that way it can be redeveloped again. And then on weekends, I like to do cosplay. I've only been doing it for about 3 years, 3 years, something like that. And then I do photography and draw and do exercise stuff. I'm originally from Michigan. I moved to Chicago a few years back, which is when I first went to my first convention at Wizard World and got introduced to cosplay and how things worked. And after the first year I started cosplaying, I was introduced to Costumers with a Cause. I did a couple charity events with them, thought it was fantastic, and then shortly after We Are Cosplay was founded, I joined pretty quickly and started doing the charity events that We Are Cosplay puts on, which are just as fun.
You've done cosplay, you've done lots of photography as well. In terms of cosplay, like costumes and stuff, who have you done? Like, what's your favorites?
The first cosplay I did was Lady Joker, sort of a femme variant of Joker. I did her the first year for Wizard World and kind of kept her going. She was my longest running. I actually still do her. The second one I did was Wenda from Where's Waldo, but that's my lazy costume when it's very easy. I can get that into that in like 20 minutes. But then I don't really have a specific genre, so I've done DC girls, I've done horror movie like Kayako from the Grudge. I've done her. And then, a few, like Arachne, Spider-Woman. I don't really like to do the good. I don't know. I kind of like bad guys, so I don't like to do the Spider-Man or Spider-Woman and the Supergirl and things like that. I tend to like the characters that are more in the gray area. So that tends to be what I stick with.
We'll get you into costuming, and you also do photography as well. Kind of like what set all that off for you?
For costuming, my first experience with costuming, I think it was in middle school, and it was a Star Trek convention in Novi at the convention center over there. And there were people dressed up as Klingons and officers and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. And then I just kind of forgot about it for a long time because I didn't go to another convention until I moved out to Chicago. And I saw an advertisement for Wizard World. And so I took a camera and I went there and I saw all the people in cosplay. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I remember that. And they all seemed to be having a lot of fun, and it just seemed like everybody was just having a blast. So I decided that the next year I wanted to do it because it seemed like a good group of people. So then I put together the Lady Joker costume. I went to Friday, I took photographs because I've been into photography just for a long time anyway. And then Saturday I went as Joker. I was terrified, but it all worked out. Everybody was super nice, and I met you guys, and I met other cosplayers and made friends, and it just kind of took off from there.
When you're preparing to take on a character, what's your process? Typically speaking,
I don't really have a process, so to speak. Like I know people that they go, I want to do this character, and then they find a whole bunch of reference pictures and they plan it, and then they get everything.
Step one,
step two, step three, and then I'm done. And I usually don't know if I'm going to do a character until I'll see a picture, and it's instant for me. There's no planning. So I'll see a picture and go, I like that character, that's happening. And at that point, it's just a frenzy of, okay, I've got this idea, and I'll go to thrift shops and pull apart. Okay, that part didn't work, throw that part out, and then over time build it. And I could be working on 3 or 4 at one time. And then it gets done when it gets done. So I don't I have to have this done by C2E2. I don't do that.
So it's not like a methodical thing where it's like, okay, I'm breaking this down. It's this piece, this piece, this piece. I need that I can do now, this I can do later, blah, blah, blah.
No.
It's whatever I see, it works, let's go.
Yeah. So like, for example, with the Lady Joker, originally she was just going to be Jack Nicholson. I was going to do his version because that's the version I grew up with. Like that was what Heath Ledger had just come out with his version at that time, and so he was like the big deal at that time. But I grew up with the old movie, so I wanted to do that version. So originally I was going to do the suit and look, exactly like that. But then I was at the Renaissance Festival, and they had a bodice that was perfect. It was the perfect color, and I was like, okay, we're going to change that. So then I got the bodice and I got the dress, and then after I got back home, I went online and was like, okay, I could get this hat, and I could get these tights, and then I got those tights, put it on. Nah, I don't like that. Throw those out. Let's go get some new tights. and
so it's more of an organic process
exactly.
for you than like it's got to look like this.
Yeah, no, I never have. It has to be this way. Like a lot of times, it's like, nah, that didn't quite work the way I wanted it to. But hey, this looks really cool, and so then I'll pull that in. Now the exception being, of course, like Lady Deadpool. I mean, that's accurate. I try to be accurate with her, or Spider-Woman, Arachne. It's this spandex too, and I don't know how to sew, so those I have somebody else make, and then I wear those because I can't sew, so I can't make those. I buy those.
So what do you think are some important issues facing the whole pop culture sphere?
It's generally a really good group of people. I mean, you have trolls in any community, cosplay community, pop culture community. I mean, they exist. But the main issue that really has been at the forefront recently, especially, is just sort of women in the industry, women in comics, women in video games, women in STEM. There just really aren't a whole lot, and the ones that are in there, it is difficult for them. I don't want to get into Gamergate or anything like that, but there is a noticeable difference between men and women in the industry. It's getting better. I do like a lot of the changes Marvel, for example, is going through by adding more minorities, more women that are actually clothed in their comics and in their movies. So I think we're going in the right direction, but it still needs work.
Do you feel that that's a genuine move on Marvel's part, or is it something to kind of placate the audience?
No, I think it's probably a genuine move. I mean, you got to figure, well, none of these characters came about. This wasn't as big of an issue, so they're all going to be white men, white women, and there's not going to be minorities because that's traditionally what they were. So really, the only way to change would be to change those characters. I mean, you can add new characters, but they're not going to have the background, the backup, the fan base that, say, Thor would have. And so if there's already an established base for that, so really the best way to really change it would be to change the current characters. So, I mean, there's always part of it's placating it because you do have to be socially acceptable, but I think it's coming from a genuine place inherently.
So speaking of doing characters, meeting creators, stuff like that, is there a particular con you like to go to?
I know Wizard World gets a lot of flack from people, but that's the first convention I went to, and so I kind of have a love for that one.
It seems to be the case with a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's like that first one,
Like, there's people that are crazy about Anime Central, but my first experience with Anime Central wasn't exactly positive. So I don't really I'll go to it, but it's not, I don't get excited about it like some other people who have been going to it for years and absolutely love it. I think it's just sort of, I don't know. It depends on the person too.
And are there any specific cons that you're really looking forward to? Like, even if it's like, I want to do this character because I want to do it specifically for this convention because it plays, or is it just something like location-wise?
Mm-hmm. I like C2E2. It's really good for photography. It's really bright and open, and there's a lot of light. You can go outside, and there's a nice city view in the background if you go on one of the little like walkways. So photography-wise, C2E2 is my favorite. For costumes, I usually debut my new costumes at Wizard World. Because you have all summer to kind of get in shape, get and work with it, and get an idea of what you're doing. Winter, I tend to hibernate. So C2E2 kind of comes at a bad time for cosplay because I kind of just want to sleep. But Wizard World being in August is like I'm all gung-ho and ready to go with it. So that tends to be my favorite one.
Is there one that you're itching to go to? Like, oh, I gotta go to San Diego Con.
San Diego seems really large. Dragon Con also seems like I know everyone loves Dragon Con, but from what I've heard recently, they seem to be a little oversized. I've heard really good things about New York Comic Con, so I would like to do that one. Unless you're in New York, so you can go do touristy stuff when you're not at the convention. So that one sounds like it'd be fun.
It's always a good idea to kind of stack your vacations. And stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. Well, I mean, we have full-time jobs, so you have limited time off that you can take. So if you can do the convention and pair it up with something else,
Right.
like that would be ideal.
Well, speaking about your professional side, I mean, you do this professionally?
No.
Okay, so there, like most, you want to keep that separation. Do you maintain an alias that people know you by in the cosplay world versus your professional or personal life?
Not really, and I actually don't even care about keeping it separate. My work is actually very, very likes it. They're very supportive. They've donated to a lot of the causes that, like with We Are Cosplay or Customers for the Cause, they've made donations to it. They actually love it. They think it's a great idea. So I'm lucky in that I have a work environment where the people are supportive of it and actually will ask me, hey, did you go to this convention? Or hey, did you dress up for this race that's happening? Or they're actually very interested in it. which is a blessing. I love it. I did have to start separating just recently. It was getting on my Facebook. It was getting to where if I posted pictures, I'd get up the morning and have like 500 notifications, and Facebook basically became useless for a few days.
Yeah.
So I just this month created a fan page where I can start uploading my pictures, and people that I don't know can watch that, and kind of keep it separated. So I just recently created that.
And people can follow you on that page under
It's the pre-fight donut.
Pre-Fight
The
Donut.
pre-fight donut.
So
Yep.
tell us a little about Pre-Fight Donut. Like, what's the story behind
The pre-fight donut. The story behind that is like I'm obviously a Ninja Turtles nerd. I think you can kind of tell that. And the pre-fight donut reference comes from the second movie, where, not to give the plot away or anything, but they're trying to get the bad guys to eat this formula that'll make them not be mutants anymore. So what they take the ice cubes that they freeze it in and put it in a donut, and to get them to eat it, say that it's a ancient ritual traditional pre-fight donut. And it was one of the funniest jokes at the time, and I still laugh at it every time I watch it. And so I just kind of, my photography and everything, it's just for fun. I'm not looking to do this professionally. I'm not looking to turn it into a business. So I have no reason to be serious about it. So I just took a element of my childhood that I absolutely loved and just picked that as my name. And people have really loved it. I've gotten a lot of messages just being like, you have the best name ever.
So what is it about cosplay?
For me, cosplay is all about just having fun. Anybody can do it. It's really not a restrictive hobby. It's not. I mean, you can be short, you can be tall, you can be, no matter what your weight is, what your color is, what your religious or your political beliefs are, it doesn't matter. You just dress up and you can have a group of friends, and it's just a fun thing to do, and it's really not restrictive. And there's gonna be people that are trolls, no matter what you do, that are going to make comments or say something, and it's, if you can't take it personally, just ignore them. Don't worry about it. Don't focus on the negative. Focus on the positive and all the people, because there's a lot of people that are really nice, and those are, if as long as you keep with those, just like any other hobby, it can be for anybody, and it can be a lot of fun.
Solo or groups? Do you have a preference?
I like them both. They have their pros, they have their cons. If you're solo, I mean, it gets great pictures, you can hit your poses, and you can hang out with people, but it's fun in the groups, especially if it's a coordinated group, like you're all going to be from this video game, or you're all from this universe. Because you get like a lot of people that can come in, and you can get a lot more people in, you can reenact the scenes that are from certain comic books, and having groups can be fun. But there is a loss of freedom, because you have to stay together as a group, and if you want to go off and go meet a celebrity, or if you want to go off and do your own thing, then you're kind of out of context.
Right.
So there's pros and cons. I like both. I personally don't have a preference.
Cool. Thanks for coming out, Chrystine.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate it. It's actually nice to be able to sit down and actually get to talk to some of our members. We really do appreciate it, you taking the time. And we hope to see more of you in We Are Cosplay.
Absolutely. It sounds like you guys have a good lineup of events this year. I think we've already had a few of them, and it's been a ton of fun. And it's always been fun. So we appreciate everything that you guys do, and you guys do a great job organizing these. And I don't know if you guys realize exactly how much everybody appreciates everything that you do. And the next event, I'll be looking forward to it. Thanks for inviting me out here.
Awesome. Thanks again.
We Are Cosplay.